Hey friends, welcome back to Crusty Cranks. Okay, I've had some requests for a video on how to weed out these stencils. So whether you're creating your own stencils on a Cricut, or maybe you're buying them from my lurestencils.com site, um, you know that if you bought them from me, I usually weed out one area or two stencils, and then usually leave the rest because it kind of protects them, just keeping them if you're not using them all right away. So you know they usually you have to weed some out if you get them from me. Um, but I thought I'd show you some quick, easy ways to kind of weed these out. And if you're making your own stencils on Cricut, maybe some of these tips will help you. Um, but some tools you need is, number one, you need a pair of these little tweezers. And you usually get these when you order eyes. They'll give you these tweezers. I got 4 or 5 pairs of them. And I keep one just particularly for weeding out stencils so I don't get glue on it or get it all dirty and stuff. I keep it nice and clean. Then sometimes I use masking tape. I'll show you how to do that. You can use these little tools you get at Harbor Freight. They're like little dental picks. You know, they're good for getting it started. And then you can pick it up and pull it out. I'll do one for you and show you a few different ones. This mat, you can tell it's been used a lot. It's kind of dirty. It's time to get a new one. If you do get a lot of stencils from me and you want to weed them out, go up to your Dollar General. I found these at my Dollar General for $5. And it's sticky back, so it sticks on there. It's the same ones I use to cut out the stencils. If you already got a Cricut, you know what I'm talking about. But I like to leave them on there. Now you can do them without these, but I like to leave them on there if I'm doing a bunch of them or cutting out an order or something, because that way it keeps it all held down on a nice surface. And that's pretty much why it's dirty, is because usually my arm's on it or it just picks up dirt. And for $5 I can go up there and buy me a new one, and they last a pretty good time. And you can use the whole thing, just putting it on different places. But yeah, I like to leave them on there, and then that way it just makes it a little easier for weeding. Now I've already got one started here. I've kind of weeded out the sleek crawl, and I kind of weeded out the main part already. I'll show you one here. So usually you just find a little spot inside where it's cut out and just get it started a little bit by pushing it until you can get a little piece of it. And once you get a little piece of it, you just kind of pull it out, and it comes out pretty good. And you can also use your tweezers to kind of hold it down. My blade's getting a little dull. It's about time for a new blade. You guys have been ordering a lot of stencils. I really appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying them. So yeah, you just pull that out and keep it out of the way. Try not to let it stick to your board, because it's kind of tough to get off of there after you do that. You got to kind of pick at it, and it gets kind of messed up. So yeah, use your tweezers and just push it a little bit, and it gets started, and then you can grab a hold of it with the tweezers and pull it out. This is probably the worst part about the stencils, but once you got them weeded out, they work fine. So you just weed them out, weed out all your spots that you can get. Now, if you got little tiny dots, like this particular one has the little tiny dots in there, and those you kind of gotta have good eyesight. But let me show you what I do. So I'll take my tape, and I'll show you another way to weed out the whole stencil. But I take my tape and put it on there, and then just pull it up. And of course, it's not going to do it when I'm videoing. And you just pull it up, and there you go. I got all the little pieces right out. Now, you got to be careful using the tape, because if you pull on it real hard, you're going to tear your stencil. But if you keep it low and pull it nice and slow, you can pick them. It'll pretty much, the tape will pull them right out of there. This is what I've found works best for me when I'm doing a lot of little stencils. Now, sometimes there's some little ones that just don't want to come out of there. Just kind of give them a little push, and then hit them with the tape, and it'll pull them right off. Sometimes there's a little tricky. And then I'll use the tape once I pull one up with the stencil, with the tweezers. And I don't have my reading glasses on. Usually I use my reading glasses so I can see. But then I'll put the tape, keep the tape on my finger like that, and I stick the little pieces on there so they don't get stuck back on the stencil. But the tape works the best for me, but sometimes there's just one little booger that just don't want to come out of there. So you just get you a piece of tape, and stick it on there. Press it down a little bit and pull it easy. And like, see how this has the curve? Whoops, sorry, I didn't mean to shake the camera. See how this kind of has the curve? I don't want to pull here, because if I pull this way, it's going to start tearing the stencil all up. So what I like to do is pull away from the spots like that. And if you don't get it the first time, just put it back on there and pull it again. And there's one whole stencil all weeded out, all the little specks. So let's do another one. I'm gonna do one that's a little harder, and I'll show you how good it works. So let me get that one cut out, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, real quick, before I do the other stencil, I wanted to show you how I take them off. Because when you get a brand new board, it's going to be sticky. It's going to hold them down pretty hard. If you turn them upside down and get it started, and then just work your hand down, you'll get your stencil off there without it getting all bent up and curly and just all weird out of shape. So yeah, turn your board over, do it underneath, and it'll come off real nice and easy. Okay, I figured I'd do one last one. This is probably the most challenging one that I've ever weeded out, and I'll show you kind of how I do it. This is my pumpkin seed pattern. I know if you guys watched my videos before, you've seen me do this, paint this pattern before. And this stencil is comprised of a bunch of little odd-shaped little specks in here. And this one is the one where I kind of use the tape and the tweezers at the same time, or as a, I guess as a compliment, I use the tweezers because all these little pieces are just hard to get out of there. Now, if I was to just lay this whole piece of tape on here and pull on it, I'm going to tear half of them out of there. So one other way that you can use this masking tape to get your stencils weeded out is to take and dab it on here, and that way you don't get too many big tear outs. So if you just take and use your tape. Now the other thing is you want to kind of keep moving it because you don't want these to stick back on there. So you just kind of use the tape and just keep moving it around. And this could apply to any stencils you're making, or you know, that you get from me, where because I don't weed them all out. If I did that, it would take forever, and I'd have to my cost would have to be pretty high, just because it's just a job. This is probably, like I said earlier, this is probably the most time-consuming part of making your own stencils. But once you got them weeded out, it's well worth it. And I am now offering my files, digital files. So if you've already got your own Cricut and you want to make your own baits with using these stencils, you can email me, tell me which ones you want, and I'll sell you the files for whatever size baits that you want, or that I have actually. But you can just email me which ones you want, and I'm not going to put them up on the website at this time, just because digital files are too easy to steal. And I've put a lot of time and effort into getting these sized for each particular bait. So just email me, tell me which ones you want, and I'll sell them to you. I'll sell you the files. I'll sell you the files for, right now I'm going to sell them for like $5 a piece for the files. But the time like I said, the time I have in them is tremendous. But yeah, just keep taking these around and just keep pulling on it, and eventually you'll get all these little pieces out of here. Now occasionally there'll be one little piece that you might have a little trouble with, but if it don't want to come out of there, then just use your tweezers and pick out the ones that don't come out. Sometimes the little tiny specks just don't want to come out of there, so you got to tweezer them. But as you can see, you kind of pull it up, so you want to be careful because it will tear them out if you do it real hard. That's why I don't just lay the whole thing on there and peel it, because this way I can, oops, sorry about that. This way I can kind of control how much I pull out of here at a time. But just doing this, you can get them all out of there without much headaches. And get your stencil all weeded out. And you can see I'm just gradually moving my way up, taking them all out. And the tape is probably the way I use it the most. You can see right there, I almost started to tear one. But yeah, just keep using little pieces of tape till you get them all out of there. And gradually you can just get them all out. You might create your own stencils too. If you're looking to get started making stencils, I do offer a workshop, and I'll spend 4 hours with you. And I'll cover everything from creating them to cutting them out. So if you have no experience at all, I suggest the course. It's $150, but that's pretty cheap. And everybody that's taken my course, usually maybe you'll have a question or two afterwards, but I cover them pretty extensively. And the reason I do 4 hours is to make sure that you have it down. So when you're done with the seminar, the workshop, you can go right in and start making your own stencils, designing your own stencils. I give you a bunch of files to work with, and I actually teach you how I create my own stencils, my methods and my secrets. I don't know if there's much secrets into it, but I show you exactly how I come up with the patterns and the ideas, and how I get my templates to size, so when you make a stencil, you'll know exactly that stencil's gonna fit. And it's, like I said, it might sound expensive, but I give you pretty much one-on-one. I usually do like 2 people at a time. I've done up to 4 at one time, but everybody leaves out of there confident and can make their own stencils, and at least knows how to create their own stencils. And you can learn how to draw things on there and everything. So yeah, if you got a Cricut and you want to learn how, look for one of my workshops. Last year I did them one a month, and every one of them I had filled. So there's a lot of people out there making their own stencils. To me, this is one way you can save a lot of money. It's a little expensive maybe getting started. I would suggest, if you want to get a Cricut, look on Facebook Marketplace. I've got 3 of them now, and yeah, I use them to create my packaging for my lures. I use them to create stickers, all that stuff. So yeah, so there it is. That's the pumpkin seed. Didn't take too long, but a lot of little pieces in there that kind of drive you crazy if you got to sit there and pick them all out. But that's one way to weed them out. So I hope these videos helped you. If you're making your own stencils, if you're not making your own stencils, you might think about it. Give it some serious thought. And the beauty of it is you can create your own patterns and your own designs. And your stencil wears out, you can just cut another one. Make as many as you need. And if you're doing a bunch of baits at once, you can do 10, 12 stencils and paint them all at the same time. So hope that helped you guys. Hope you enjoy the channel. Stay tuned. I got a bunch of videos coming up on a bunch of new patterns that I did create on stencils. So hit that subscribe button, share it if your friends want to get into bait painting, and ring that notification bell so you get notified when we put up our next video. So always remember, friends, stay crusty.